And so I am going down to a radio station to be interviewed about a game I've never played before. Pokemon Go will not work on my tablet, and my phone is too old to install new apps on it, so it's like an iPhone 3, I think. Now, I have done, in fact, to make it even worse, I've not even played any Pokemon game because Pokemon came out in the 90s. Well, I was in my 20s during the 90s, and I was not really that interested in watching little kid cartoons when I was in my 20s. I watched the Thundercats and the Transformers when I was in my teens because that's what was out in my teens. And G.I. Joe I watched, and when I was younger than that, obviously I watched Bugs Bunny and Smurfs and that sort of thing. So I wasn't watching cartoons in my 20s, and so I totally missed the whole Pokemon craze. In fact, I didn't even really know how it worked. And so when they invited me on a few days ago, when they said, hey, would you like to do this? I went, oh yeah, sure. And they're like, do you know about Pokemon? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fairly knowledgeable about it. Which is what you do. You always say, oh yeah, I totally know about that. And then when you hang up the phone, you research the hell out of it. So I've researched the hell out of Pokemon. Let's pull over here. Yeah, you guys can't see it, but right across the street is Sac State. Need a special permit to park here. All right. Show you guys what it looks like. Right, and there's where I'm going.
You're listening to Insight on Capital Public Radio. I'm Beth Ruiak. About a week ago, Pokemon Go was launched, and has there ever been a smartphone app that made so much happen so quickly? In the studio with me is Brian Linville. He's the owner of a video game company called Stigma Games. Hi, Brian.
Hi, how are you doing?
Are you playing the game?
I've been trying to. The servers are down a lot, so it's pretty tough.
So this game is augmented reality. Will you explain what it's all about?
So the game uses your GPS coordinates to find out where you are in the game. So it's just like a traditional game where you would have a character and you move it around X and Y coordinates, etc. So now it's just using your GPS. And so in the game, it has different Pokemon that are in different parts of the world. And you're going to want to collect different types of Pokemon because it's sort of like, the game is sort of like rock, paper, scissors. But instead of just 3 different types, there's like dozens. And you really want to get, like if you fight a fire Pokemon, you're going to want a water Pokemon because it does more damage, etc. So you need a large collection of different types of Pokemon. And certain types can only be found in certain locations. So if you're in the Midwest somewhere, you might have a hard time getting a water Pokemon. And so I've seen people talk about planning trips to go to different geographic locations to maximize the different variety of Pokemon they have.
This is a free game. I tweeted that Cap Radio is a Pokestop, which means that this is one destination on the game in your characters. And the reason people are holding their phones up in front of them and totally losing touch with the rest of reality is
that they can actually see Pokemon on their phone. So that's the way augmented reality works, is that you look at the world through a camera and then it just adds something to it. In this case, it adds a picture of a Pokemon onto the camera itself. And so you can be taking a picture of your friend with this app active, and you can actually see a Pokemon in the picture as you take a picture of your friend.
And Brian, you create an avatar and your avatar moves on your map, and it's like watching the GPS when you're driving if you have
Right.
it on the screen. How did all the data get loaded in that, for example, created Cap Radio as a Pokestop or creates anything at certain landmarks, a bar, a restaurant, a college campus? Sac State, I guess, is littered with all kinds of items for the game.
Sure, I'll tell you a little bit about the history of how the game was created, so this one might be a little bit long, but I'll try and make it quick. So Niantic is the company that made Pokemon Go, and they were formed by Google employees. So Google created Niantic and charged Niantic with the task of expanding on Google Maps. So Niantic made this game. This is in 2010. Niantic made this game called Ingress, and Ingress is sort of like Pokemon, but without the Pokemons. And so they collected years of player data. So players would say, hey, there's this really cool landmark by my house in all different countries. So Niantic has this database of all these cool hotspots. So when Google spun out Niantic as its own company, Nintendo came and invested $20 million in Niantic, and then they decided to take that game Ingress and add Pokemon to it. So they already had these landmarks in their database.
Okay.
So they were already ready to go. They just weren't prepared for it to be as popular as it is.
Really, the phenomenon is incredible. A week ago, it was released. Millions of people are playing. It's getting folks out walking, exercising, getting to parks, talking in some ways to each other because they're exchanging information about the game. Right, Brian?
Yeah, and it's very helpful to team up with other Pokemon trainers. That's what they call the players, because they can get certain benefits if they work together.
Pokemon Go is not available in Canada yet.
Yes,
right?
and I've heard a lot of people have actually talked about going to Canada just where there's no competition and capturing Pokemon before the Canadians get it.
All right. So any secrets, Brian? Now, I could say where I hear in the newsroom people saying there are water... What do I call them? Water...
Yeah, they have different types. So they have about 24 different types, and you want a diverse cast of Pokemon.
Okay, so I'm asking for a few secrets, a few tricks you've heard.
Ooh, I know that one of the secrets I've heard is that when you go to actually throw a Pokeball, so just because you see a Pokemon on your phone doesn't mean you're instantly going to get it. You need to throw your Pokeball at it to capture it. And when the circle around the Pokemon is green and at its smallest, I've heard that is the optimum time to catch a Pokemon.
Thank you. I did not want to disappoint. I felt like I was in the midst of a movie the other night in Fair Oaks Park, seeing everyone wandering with their phones up. It's quite a sight. There's more about Pokemon Go online. Our own digital editor, Melody Stone, who's playing, Jonathan Iestis is playing, and they're continuing to add tips online at capradio.org/insight. Brian Linville, again, is the owner of Stigma Games. This is Insight on Capital Public Radio. More intrigue ahead.
Hey guys, so I just finished doing an interview about Pokemon Go, and I've never played Pokemon Go or any Pokemon games at all, and they thanked me for my expertise in knowing so much about Pokemon, and I researched at the last minute. It's not the first time while at Sac State I've had to perform for after cramming subject I didn't know in 24 hours. So there's a lot about Pokemon I didn't talk about, but that's fine. It was a fun interview. I haven't been interviewed on the radio for many years, and this is the first time I've been interviewed on the radio for something other than talking about my band. So that was pretty cool. I am driving really fast to go to a place called Howe Park, which is a pretty large park, and you can, to my left right there. I don't know how well you can see that. And the reason why I'm going there is because I just got off the phone with a reporter for a really big local TV station, and they heard my radio interview today. I assume, I mean, a coincidence is too high otherwise. And so, as such, they wanted to interview me on camera to talk about Pokemon Go. But, so, yeah, pretty cool. I haven't been to this park really in a very long time. So I suggested the park because they said, you know, hey, we can come wherever you want to meet with us, to interview you. And I thought, you know, hey guys, let's brainstorm. Let's meet in a place where there might be poke zombies. You know what a poke zombie is? Somebody, hold on, I gotta turn the car off. A poke zombie is somebody who's watching their phone and they're not paying attention to their surroundings, and so they might be crashing into people and whatever. So we wanted to pick a place where there might be a lot of people being poke zombies. Yeah, see, it's a good idea.
Pokemon Go revolutionizing the meaning of mobile app, replacing the couch with fresh air. But this is also the sound of money, a cash flow staying local.
I came here to catch a water Pokemon.
In places like Old Town Sacramento.
It's good for businesses, of course, you know.
Railroad Fish and Chips staying open well beyond normal business hours, capturing the foot traffic thanks to pocket monsters.
We work like to midnight.
Pikachu and the gang also alive at Arden Fair Mall.
I blocked it.
Allowing shoppers to continue to play a modern version of a childhood classic.
I remember playing it on my Nintendo all the time when I was younger. And then, like, when they put it on the phone, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have it.
Local game developer Brian Linville telling us this is a welcome surprise.
And I think a lot of businesses are looking at this as a sudden opportunity that they had no idea was coming.
Including the Sacramento Kings.
Right at the free throw line, huh?
The Sleep Train Arena joining the Pokemon phenomenon, hosting a free meetup. Over in Midtown, businesses already joining in.
It makes you go out there and actually look for things. It's almost like a scavenger hunt.
Councilmember Steve Hansen, joined by a Caterpie, is helping to coordinate a Pokemon Go pub crawl in his district.
The summer, especially when the legislature is out, is usually a very slow time for many of these businesses, especially when it's hot.
A Nintendo comeback showing boundless interest.
I got a ton of people in on Saturday night. There must have been at least 40 new customers.
As local shops happily put in overtime.
So I just finished the interview. That was pretty fun. They were really, really nice. So for me, that's crazy about news. How you gotta get this story together and you gotta do it really, really fast and get it wrapped up. That's just crazy to me. Anyways, so I'm at my house. So that was really short. Really short. I live really close to Hell Park. All right, guys. So I'm gonna end it now. Bye.